My precious child, before we begin this sacred journey together, I want you to know that you are here by divine appointment. Every word you are about to hear has been written with infinite love and divine intention, woven together like golden threads in the tapestry of your awakening. Do not let the distractions of this world pull you away from this moment, for what I am about to speak into your spirit will transform the very essence of how you understand your purpose, your responsibility, and the profound impact of your daily choices. I invite you to subscribe to this channel and return daily, for each day I have new mercies, new revelations, and new depths of my love to pour into your hungry soul. Let your heart be still, beloved one, and prepare to receive what your spirit has been longing to hear. You are being watched, precious child, not by eyes of judgment, but by eyes of love, expectation, and divine anticipation. It is time to wake up to the magnificent reality of who is observing your life and why your every moment matters more than you could ever imagine. My beloved child, I must awaken you to a profound reality that has been hidden from your conscious awareness. You are being watched every moment of every day by the one who loves you most deeply, knows you most intimately, and believes in you most completely. These are not the watchful eyes of a distant judge waiting to condemn your failures, but the tender gaze of your loving Father who delights in your existence and celebrates your every step toward becoming who I created you to be. The voice of spiritual blindness has convinced you that you live in obscurity, that your choices go unnoticed, that your struggles are invisible, and that your victories are insignificant. But precious one, this voice has been lying to you about the most beautiful truth of your existence. You are never alone, never unobserved, never without witness to both your battles and your breakthroughs. I see you in the quiet moments when you think no one is watching, beloved child. I observe the kindness you show when no one else is looking, the integrity you maintain when no reward is offered, the love you express when no recognition is given. These moments that seem invisible to the world are precious diamonds in my sight, treasures that I collect in the storehouse of heaven, evidence of the beautiful character that is growing within you. I watch as you wrestle with decisions in the privacy of your heart, as you choose between right and convenient, as you battle temptation in the secret places of your soul. These unseen victories, these private triumphs over selfishness and fear, these hidden moments of choosing my will over your wants, they are not hidden from me. They shine like stars in the darkness, beacon lights that guide others who are watching your life for evidence that authentic faith is possible. The voice of insignificance whispers that your life doesn't matter, that your choices have no impact, that you are just one among billions with no particular significance or influence. But I am revealing to you a truth that will revolutionize your understanding of your existence. You are being watched not just by me, but by a great cloud of witnesses, by angels assigned to your life, by people whose destinies are connected to your faithfulness, and by generations yet unborn who will benefit from the choices you make today. Your life is not a private performance, precious one. It is a public demonstration of my goodness, my faithfulness, and my transforming power. Every day you live, every choice you make, every word you speak is being observed by those who need to see that it is possible to live victoriously, to love unconditionally, and to trust completely in an uncertain world. I see the tears you cry when you think you are alone, beloved child. Each one is precious to me, collected in my bottle, recorded in my book of remembrance. The pain you bear in silence, the struggles you endure without complaint, the faith you maintain despite disappointment, all of it is witnessed by the one who promises that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. But I also see the joy that bubbles up from your spirit when you experience my goodness, the gratitude that overflows from your heart when you recognize my faithfulness, the wonder that fills your eyes when you glimpse my glory in ordinary moments. These expressions of pure worship, these spontaneous celebrations of my love, these authentic responses to my presence, They bring immeasurable joy to my heart and inspire the angelic hosts to join in celebration. The voice of false humility argues that calling attention to the fact that you are being watched is pride, that recognizing your significance is vanity, that understanding your influence is arrogance. But beloved one, true humility is not denying your importance. It is acknowledging that your importance comes from me, that your significance is rooted in my love, that your influence is a gift to be stewarded for my glory. I watch as you interact with your family, precious child. The patience you show to difficult relatives, the love you express to ungrateful children, the forgiveness you extend to imperfect spouses. These acts of grace are powerful testimonies that demonstrate the reality of my transforming love to those who need to see it most. Your family is watching to see if your faith is authentic, if your love is genuine, if your character is consistent. I observe how you treat those who can do nothing for you, beloved one. The kindness you show to strangers, the compassion you express to the suffering, the generosity you demonstrate to those in need, these are the true measures of your character, the authentic expressions of my love flowing through your surrendered heart. The world is watching to see if Christianity makes a practical difference in how believers live and love. I see how you handle success and failure, prosperity and lack, praise and criticism, joy and sorrow. Your responses to life's varied experiences are being watched by those who want to know if faith provides real strength for real challenges, if my promises offer genuine hope for genuine difficulties, if relationship with me produces authentic peace in authentic storms. The watching eyes upon your life are not burdensome surveillance designed to make you anxious or self-conscious, precious child. They are loving observation intended to make you aware of your influence, conscious of your impact, and intentional about your choices. When you understand that you are being watched, you begin to live with greater purpose, speak with greater wisdom, and choose with greater consideration for the consequences of your actions. Your life is a letter written by me and read by the world, beloved one. Your choices are words in that letter. Your character is the message being communicated, and your faithfulness is the signature that validates the authenticity of what is being proclaimed. The watching world needs to read the good news of my love written in the pages of your daily existence. I am not watching you to catch you in failure, precious child. I am watching you to celebrate your victories. I am not observing you to condemn your mistakes. I am witnessing your growth with joy and pride. I am not monitoring you to punish your shortcomings. I am delighting in your progress with paternal affection. Wake up to this beautiful reality, beloved one. You are being watched by love, observed with affection, witnessed with hope, and celebrated with joy. Your life matters more than you know. Your choices have greater impact than you realize, and your faithfulness produces fruit that will be enjoyed for generations to come. The eyes that watch you are filled with love. The heart that observes you overflows with pride, and the Father who witnesses your journey celebrates every step you take toward becoming the masterpiece He created you to be. You are being watched, precious child, and what a privilege it is to be witnessed by such love, such grace, and such unending faithfulness. My precious child, I want to open your spiritual eyes to see the magnificent reality of the heavenly audience that surrounds your life every single day. You are not performing on an empty stage, living in an isolated bubble, or struggling through your challenges alone. There is a great cloud of witnesses who have gone before you, a host of angels assigned to you, and a communion of saints who are cheering you on with passionate enthusiasm for your victory and success. The voice of loneliness whispers that you are forgotten, unnoticed, and without support in your spiritual journey. It convinces you that no one understands your struggles, that no one cares about your victories, and that no one is invested in your success. But beloved one, this voice is blind to the supernatural dimension of reality, where your life is the subject of intense interest, passionate support, and constant encouragement from the heavenly realm. Scripture speaks of a great cloud of witnesses who surround you like spectators in a celestial arena, watching your race of faith with breathless anticipation. These are not casual observers, but passionate supporters who have run their own races, faced their own battles, and achieved their own victories. They understand the challenges you face because they have faced similar challenges. They celebrate your progress because they remember their own journey. They cheer for your victory because they know the joy of overcoming. Think of Abraham, the father of faith, who is watching as you learn to trust my promises despite contrary circumstances, precious child. He remembers the decades of waiting for Isaac, the test of offering his promised son, the journey of learning to believe my word over natural evidence. When you choose faith over fear, when you trust my timing over your understanding, when you believe my promises despite delayed fulfillment, Abraham is cheering from the heavenly grandstands. Consider Moses, who is observing as you learn to lead others through your own wilderness seasons, beloved one. He recalls the challenges of dealing with complaining people, the difficulty of maintaining faith during long seasons of wandering, the burden of interceding for those who didn't appreciate his sacrifice. When you show patience with difficult people, when you persist through challenging seasons, when you stand in the gap for others, Moses is applauding your faithfulness. Think of David, who watches as you learn to worship me in both victory and defeat, precious child. He remembers singing songs of praise while hiding in caves, maintaining his heart of worship while being pursued by enemies, finding my presence in both the palace and the wilderness. When you choose to praise me despite your circumstances, when you maintain your love for me through difficult seasons, when you express authentic worship in the midst of trials, David is celebrating your heart of devotion. The voice of insignificance argues that your struggles are too small to capture heavenly attention, that your victories are too minor to merit celestial celebration, that your life is too ordinary to deserve supernatural support. But I am revealing to you that in heaven, there is no such thing as an insignificant believer, a minor victory, or an ordinary life lived in faithful obedience to my call. The angels assigned to your life are not distant, disinterested beings fulfilling obligatory duties, beloved one. They are passionate warriors who delight in your spiritual progress, celebrate your victories over temptation, and rejoice when you choose obedience over convenience. When you resist the enemy's attacks, when you stand firm in spiritual warfare, when you advance my kingdom through your choices, these mighty beings shout with triumph. I see the wonder in heaven when you show unexpected kindness to someone who has hurt you, precious child. The angels marvel at the power of forgiveness working through human hearts, the beauty of grace overcoming natural resentment, the miracle of love conquering legitimate offense. Your choice to forgive when you have every right to hold a grudge creates celebration in the courts of heaven. There is rejoicing among the heavenly hosts when you choose integrity over advantage, beloved one. When you tell the truth even when a lie would be easier, when you do what is right even when no one is watching, when you maintain your character even when compromise would be profitable, the celestial audience erupts in applause for the demonstration of divine character through human choices. The saints who have gone before you are particularly moved when they see you standing firm in the same battles they once fought, precious child. When you resist the temptation to give up on my promises, when you maintain your faith despite delayed answers, when you continue to believe in my goodness despite difficult circumstances, those who faced similar tests are shouting encouragement from the eternal realm. Think of Job, who watches as you maintain your trust in me despite unexplained suffering, beloved one. He remembers the confusion of losing everything without understanding why, the pressure of well-meaning friends who offered wrong counsel, the struggle to maintain faith when everything seemed to contradict my love. When you continue to bless my name despite painful circumstances, Job is cheering your perseverance. Consider the Apostle Paul, who observes as you learn to find strength in weakness and grace in difficulty, precious child. He recalls the thorn in his flesh, the beatings and imprisonments, the shipwrecks and persecutions, and how he learned that my power is perfected in weakness. When you discover joy in trials, when you find my strength in your weakness, when you experience peace in storms, Paul is celebrating your spiritual maturity. The voice of self-consciousness warns that being watched creates pressure to perform. That awareness of this heavenly audience should make you nervous about making mistakes. But beloved one, this audience is not watching to judge your performance but to celebrate your progress. They are not observing to condemn your failures but to encourage your faithfulness. They are not witnessing to find fault but to offer support. This heavenly audience understands the challenges of living in a fallen world because they face the same challenges. They know the difficulty of maintaining faith in the midst of doubt because they wrestled with similar struggles. They appreciate the victory of choosing righteousness over sin because they fought the same battles. Their cheers are not based on your perfection, but on your persistence, not on your flawless performance, but on your faithful perseverance. When you stumble, they do not condemn. They encourage you to get back up. When you fail, they do not reject you. They remind you of my grace. When you struggle, they do not abandon you. They surround you with supernatural support. This heavenly audience has experienced the same failures you face and discovered the same forgiveness you need. I want you to live with conscious awareness of this supernatural support system. Precious child, when you feel alone in your battles, remember the cloud of witnesses surrounding you. When you feel discouraged in your struggles, hear the cheers of those who have overcome similar challenges. When you feel weak in your faith, draw strength from the encouragement of those who have completed their race successfully. Your life is not a solo performance, but a symphony in which you play a crucial part, beloved one. The heavenly audience is not just watching passively, but actively supporting. Not just observing quietly, but cheering loudly. Not just witnessing distantly, but participating intimately in your spiritual journey. Run your race with endurance, knowing that you are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. Fight your battles with courage, knowing that heavenly armies are cheering your victory. Live your life with purpose, knowing that your faithfulness inspires celebration in the courts of heaven. You are being watched, precious child, but not with judgment, with joy. Not with criticism, with celebration. Not with condemnation, with encouragement. The heavenly audience is cheering you on to victory, and their voices are louder than any voice of discouragement that would try to defeat you. Wake up to the reality of this supernatural support, beloved one. You are not alone, you are not forgotten, and you are definitely not without passionate advocates in the eternal realm who want to see you succeed, overcome, and triumph in every area of your life. My beloved child, there is a deep wound in your soul that has distorted your understanding of what it means to be watched by divine eyes. This wound was created by earthly watchers who observed you with criticism rather than love, who noticed your flaws rather than your beauty, who focused on your failures rather than your potential. But today I want to heal this distorted perception and restore your ability to receive the loving attention of your Heavenly Father without fear, shame, or the need to perform for approval. The voice of past pain whispers that being watched is dangerous, that attention means scrutiny, that observation leads to judgment and rejection. This voice was created by experiences with people who watched you to find fault, who observed you to criticize, who noticed you only to point out your inadequacies. But precious one, my eyes upon your life are nothing like the wounded gaze of broken people who projected their own pain onto your tender heart. I see the little child within you who learned to hide when adults were watching, who discovered that attention often meant trouble, who concluded that being noticed usually led to being hurt. That child learned to shrink back from observation, to avoid the spotlight, to minimize their presence to avoid negative attention. But beloved one, that child was being watched by wounded people, not by perfect love. They were being observed by hurt hearts, not by healing grace. The adults who should have watched you with wonder watched you with weariness instead. The parents who should have observed you with joy observed you with judgment instead. The teachers who should have noticed you with encouragement noticed you with expectation of failure instead. The family members who should have seen you with celebration saw you with criticism instead. No wonder you learned to associate being watched with pain rather than pleasure, fear rather than love, anxiety rather than acceptance. But I am healing this wounded perception today, precious child. My eyes upon your life are filled with the love you always needed but may never have received. My observation of your daily choices is motivated by delight, not disappointment. My attention to your struggles is driven by compassion, not condemnation. My awareness of your failures is accompanied by forgiveness, not fury. When I watch you stumble, I do not shake my head in disgust. I extend my hand to help you up. When I observe you struggling, I do not roll my eyes in frustration. I pour out my strength to sustain you. When I notice you failing, I do not turn away in disappointment. I draw near with grace to restore you. My watching is not the surveillance of a stern judge, but the attention of a loving father who is totally invested in your success and happiness. The voice of shame argues that you are too flawed to deserve positive attention, too broken to merit loving observation, too imperfect to warrant divine delight. It convinced you that if I really see everything about you, all your thoughts, all your motives, all your hidden struggles, I must be disappointed, disgusted, or ready to reject you. But beloved one, I see everything about you and love you completely, not despite your flaws but through them, not around your struggles but in them. I am healing your ability to receive love without earning it, precious child. The wounded part of you believes that love must be earned through perfect behavior, that acceptance must be achieved through flawless performance, that approval must be gained through meeting impossible standards. But my love for you is not based on your performance. It is based on my nature. I love you because I am love, not because you are perfect. You have been living under the exhausting burden of trying to be worthy of love, instead of simply receiving the love that is freely given. Beloved one, you have been attempting to earn approval through good behavior, instead of resting in the approval that was established before you were born. You have been striving to deserve attention through achievement, instead of enjoying the attention that flows from pure affection. I am healing the part of you that learned to perform for love, that discovered attention had to be earned, that concluded acceptance was conditional on behavior. This healing will enable you to rest in my unconditional love, to receive my constant attention without anxiety, to enjoy my continuous observation without the need to hide or pretend. The wounds from earthly watchers created false beliefs about heavenly watching, precious child. If human observers were harsh, you assumed divine observation would be harsher. If earthly attention was critical, you expected heavenly attention to be more critical. If mortal love was conditional, you concluded that eternal love must be even more conditional. But I am nothing like the broken people who wounded your tender heart. I am healing your capacity to be fully known and completely loved simultaneously. Beloved one, the fear of being truly seen has kept you hiding parts of yourself, pretending to be better than you are, working to maintain an image that will keep you safe from rejection. But perfect love casts out fear, and my perfect love for you eliminates the need to hide, pretend, or perform. You can be fully yourself in my presence without fear of rejection, precious child. You can show me your struggles without fear of abandonment. You can reveal your weaknesses without fear of condemnation. You can expose your failures without fear of losing my love. I see all of you and love all of you, not just the parts you think are acceptable, but all the parts that make you uniquely you. The voice of unworthiness protests that this kind of love is too good to be true, that surely there must be conditions, expectations, or requirements for maintaining divine favor. But I am revealing to you that my love is exactly as good as it seems, exactly as unconditional as it appears, exactly as permanent as it promises to be. I am healing your ability to live naturally under divine observation, instead of unnaturally under human judgment, beloved one. When you understand that my eyes upon your life are filled with love, your daily existence becomes a dance of joy rather than a performance of anxiety. When you realize that my attention is motivated by affection, your choices become expressions of gratitude rather than attempts to earn approval. This healing will transform how you experience being watched by me, precious child. Instead of shrinking under divine observation, you will flourish under heavenly attention. Instead of hiding from my gaze, you will bask in my loving eyes. Instead of fearing my awareness of your struggles, you will welcome my involvement in your battles. As this healing takes place, you will discover that being watched by perfect love is the most wonderful experience in existence, beloved one. You will find that divine attention is not intrusive but intimate, not overwhelming but comforting, not demanding but delighting. You will learn that being fully known by perfect love is not terrifying but thrilling, not dangerous but delightful. The little child within you who learned to hide from watchers is being healed today, precious one. That child is discovering that it is safe to be seen, wonderful to be known, and amazing to be loved without condition or reservation. The wounds from imperfect human observers are being healed by the perfect divine observer who watches you with eyes of love, grace, and endless delight. You are being watched, beloved child, but you are being watched with love. You are being observed, but you are being observed with joy. You are being seen, but you are being seen with celebration. Let this healing restore your ability to receive divine attention with gratitude rather than fear, with joy rather than anxiety, with rest rather than performance. The healing is complete, the wound is closed, and your capacity to enjoy being lovingly watched by your Heavenly Father is fully restored. My precious child, there is a trap that has ensnared your heart and enslaved your spirit, a deceptive prison disguised as spiritual maturity, a subtle bondage that masquerades as godly living. You have been caught in the performance trap, the exhausting cycle of trying to earn love through perfect behavior, win approval through flawless execution, and maintain acceptance through constant achievement. But today I am setting you free from this prison of perfectionism and releasing you into the liberty of unconditional love. The voice of legalism has convinced you that my love is conditional, that my acceptance is earned, that my approval must be maintained through religious performance. It whispers that you must pray more to be loved more, serve more to be accepted more, and achieve more to be valued more. But beloved one, this voice is not just wrong, it is destructive, leading you away from the freedom I purchased for you and into the bondage I died to break. You have been living as though you are on spiritual probation, constantly trying to prove your worthiness, desperately attempting to demonstrate your value, exhaustingly working to maintain your standing with me. But precious one, your standing with me was established at the cross. Your worthiness was determined by my grace, and your value was declared before you were born. Nothing you do can increase my love for you, and nothing you fail to do can decrease it. The performance trap was set in your childhood when you learned that love and approval came with conditions. Beloved child, you discovered that attention was earned through achievement, that acceptance required good behavior, and that affection was a reward for meeting expectations. These early lessons created a template in your heart that taught you to approach all relationships, including your relationship with me, through the lens of performance and earning. But I am not your earthly parent who loved you conditionally. I am not your teacher who approved of you based on grades. I am not your coach who valued you according to performance. I am your Heavenly Father whose love is perfect, whose grace is sufficient, and whose acceptance is complete. You cannot earn what is already freely given, cannot achieve what is already fully accomplished, cannot perform your way into what is already permanently established. The voice of spiritual pride argues that working for God's approval shows dedication, that striving for spiritual perfection demonstrates commitment, that earning divine love proves worthiness. But I am revealing to you that attempting to earn what is freely given is not spiritual maturity. It is spiritual immaturity. It is not faith. It is the opposite of faith. It is not love for me. It is distrust of my love for you. I see how exhausted you have become trying to be good enough, precious child. The constant self-monitoring, the perpetual self-improvement projects, the endless self-criticism when you fall short of impossible standards, all of this is stealing your joy, crushing your spirit, and preventing you from experiencing the rest and peace that I desire for your life. You have been living under the tyranny of should instead of the freedom of am, beloved one. You should pray more, read more, serve more, give more, love more, forgive more. The list of shoulds is endless and exhausting, but I am calling you to live in the reality of who you am, beloved, accepted, approved, complete, righteous, holy, and perfect in my sight through Christ. The performance trap keeps you focused on what you do instead of who you are, on your behavior instead of your identity, on your works instead of my work. But your identity is not based on your performance. It is based on my promise. Your worth is not determined by your works. It is established by my word. Your righteousness is not achieved by your actions. It is received by faith. I am breaking the chains of the performance trap that have bound your heart for so long, precious child. These chains were forged by religious teaching that emphasized works over grace, by spiritual leaders who preached law over love, by well-meaning people who confused Christian living with Christian striving. But grace is not a license to sin. It is freedom from the need to earn what is already given. The voice of fear warns that freedom from performance will lead to laziness, that grace will produce carelessness, that unconditional love will result in uncontrolled living. But I am teaching you that the opposite is true. When you truly understand that you are loved unconditionally, you will love others more freely. When you grasp that you are accepted completely, you will serve others more joyfully. When you realize that you are approved permanently, you will live more authentically. True spiritual maturity is not trying harder to be good. It is trusting deeper in my goodness, beloved one. It is not working more for my approval. It is resting more in my acceptance. It is not striving to earn my love. It is receiving my love that has already been earned for you by Christ. I am replacing your performance-based relationship with me with a grace-based relationship, precious child. Instead of trying to impress me with your spiritual achievements, you will learn to enjoy me through intimate communion. Instead of working to maintain my favor, you will rest in my favor that can never be lost. Instead of earning my love through religious activity, you will receive my love through simple faith. This freedom from performance does not mean freedom from responsibility, beloved one. It means that your obedience flows from love rather than fear. Your service springs from gratitude rather than guilt. Your righteousness comes from relationship rather than rules. When you understand how completely you are loved, you will want to please me, not to earn my love, but because you already have it. The performance trap has robbed you of the joy of spontaneous worship, the pleasure of authentic relationship, and the peace of unconditional acceptance. But today I am restoring what performance stole from you, returning what striving took from you, and releasing what earning imprisoned within you. You are free to fail and still be loved, precious child. You are free to struggle and still be accepted. You are free to be human and still be approved. You are free to make mistakes and still be valued. This freedom is not a license to sin, but a liberty to be real. Not permission to be careless, but power to be authentic. I am calling you out of the performance trap and into the paradise of grace, beloved one. I am inviting you to lay down the burden of trying to be good enough and pick up the joy of knowing that you already are good enough through Christ. I am asking you to stop working for my love and start working from my love. The trap is broken, the prison door is open, and freedom is calling your name, precious child. Step out of the performance trap and into the grace that has been waiting to embrace you. You are loved not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You are accepted not based on your performance, but based on my promise. The performance is over, beloved one. The show is finished. The striving can stop. You are loved, you are accepted, and you are approved. not because you earned it, but because I gave it. Welcome to the freedom of grace, the liberty of love, and the rest of complete acceptance. My beloved child, there is something magnificent burning within your spirit that has captured the attention of heaven and hell, that has become the subject of intense spiritual interest, and that is being watched with passionate anticipation by both the kingdom of light and the forces of darkness. Your divine calling is not a private matter between you and me. It is a cosmic assignment that reverberates through the spiritual realm and influences destinies you cannot yet see. The voice of insignificance has tried to convince you that your calling is small, your purpose is limited, and your impact will be minimal. But precious one, the very fact that you feel called to something greater than your current circumstances proves that heaven has invested in your destiny, that eternity has a stake in your success, and that the invisible realm is watching to see whether you will embrace the magnificent assignment I have placed within your heart. Every true calling originates in the heart of God and is witnessed by the hosts of heaven before it is revealed to human hearts. Beloved child, before you were born, before you understood your purpose, before you recognized your gifts, your calling was already established in the councils of eternity, discussed in the courts of heaven, and assigned to your life by divine decree. The angels know your assignment, the enemy fears your potential, and I am watching to see when you will fully embrace what I have placed within you. Your calling is under heavenly scrutiny not because heaven doubts your ability to fulfill it, but because heaven is eager to support you in its manifestation, precious one. The eyes of divine love are upon your calling with anticipation, watching for signs that you are ready to step into the fullness of your purpose, monitoring your spiritual development to know when to release greater dimensions of anointing and authority. I see how the enemy has been watching your calling with malicious intent, beloved child. He recognizes the threat your purpose poses to his kingdom, the damage your destiny will inflict on his plans, and the light your calling will shine in places he wants to keep dark. His attacks against your life have not been random. They have been strategic attempts to prevent, pervert, or postpone the manifestation of the divine assignment burning within your spirit. The voice of fear whispers that if your calling is being watched by dark forces, you should abandon it for safety, hide it for protection, or postpone it until conditions are more favorable. But I am teaching you that the enemy's opposition to your calling is actually confirmation of its importance, validation of its power, and proof of the threat it poses to his destructive agenda. The angels assigned to your life have been watching your calling with protective interest, precious child. They see the divine treasure housed within your earthen vessel, the eternal purpose wrapped in temporal flesh, the heavenly assignment entrusted to an earthly being. They are positioned to assist you, empowered to protect you, and commissioned to support the manifestation of your calling through supernatural intervention when necessary. Your calling is being watched by generations past who faced similar assignments. Beloved one, the great cloud of witnesses includes those who answered divine calls in their own generations, who faced opposition similar to what you face, who overcame obstacles like those standing in your path. They are watching your response to my call with intense interest, because they understand the significance of your yes, the power of your obedience, and the impact of your faithfulness. Think of Moses, who is watching as you learn to lead others out of bondage into freedom. Precious child. He remembers the reluctance, the feelings of inadequacy, the fear of responsibility that accompany divine calling. He is cheering for you to embrace your leadership calling, encouraging you to trust my power working through your weakness, urging you to step forward despite your feelings of unpreparedness. Consider Esther, who observes as you discover that you may have been brought to your current position for such a time as this, beloved one. She recalls the fear of stepping into dangerous situations, the weight of knowing that others' destinies depended on her courage, the choice between personal safety and divine purpose. She is encouraging you to embrace the possibility that your calling has kingdom significance beyond your personal benefit. The voice of perfectionism, argues that your calling cannot be fulfilled until you are completely prepared, totally qualified, and absolutely certain of your ability to succeed. But the witnesses in heaven know that I have never called perfect people to perfect assignments under perfect conditions. They are watching to see if you will step forward in faith like they did, trusting my strength to compensate for your weakness, my wisdom to overcome your limitations, my power to accomplish through you what you cannot accomplish through yourself. Your calling is being watched by people in your current sphere of influence who need to see that ordinary individuals can be used for extraordinary purposes. Precious child, they are observing your life to see if authentic faith produces authentic transformation, if genuine relationship with me results in genuine power for living, if real calling creates real impact in the world around you. Some are watching with hope, looking for evidence that God still calls people to significant purposes, still uses ordinary vessels for miraculous works, still transforms lives and communities through surrendered hearts. Others are watching with skepticism, waiting to see if your calling will prove to be authentic or just another religious enthusiasm that fades with time and testing. I am watching your calling with paternal pride and anticipation, beloved one. I see the seeds of greatness I planted within you beginning to sprout, the gifts I deposited in your spirit starting to emerge, the purpose I designed you to fulfill beginning to take shape. My eyes are upon your calling, not with anxiety about whether you will succeed, but with excitement about the impact you will make when you fully embrace your destiny. The heavenly scrutiny of your calling is not pressure to perform, but protection for your purpose, precious child. The watchers in the spiritual realm are not critics looking for failure, but supporters cheering for success. The attention your calling receives from the invisible realm is not burden but blessing, not weight, but wings that will lift you into the fulfillment of everything I have prepared for your life. Your calling is too important to remain hidden, too powerful to stay dormant, too significant to be postponed indefinitely, beloved one. The watchers in heaven are waiting for you to say yes to your destiny, to step into your purpose, to embrace the magnificent assignment that has captured their attention and ignited their anticipation. The scrutiny is not judgment, but support, precious child. The watching is not surveillance, but encouragement. The scrutiny is not judgment, but support, precious child. The watching is not surveillance, but encouragement. The attention is not burden, but blessing. Heaven is watching your calling with passionate interest because heaven is passionately invested in your success. Wake up to the reality that your calling matters to more than just you, beloved one. Embrace the truth that your purpose has cosmic significance. Accept the responsibility that comes with being watched by both heaven and earth. Your calling is under heavenly scrutiny because your calling has heavenly importance. Step into your calling with confidence, knowing that you are watched by love, supported by angels, encouraged by witnesses, and empowered by me. The watchers are cheering for your success, not waiting for your failure. The observers are hoping for your victory, not expecting your defeat. Your calling is being watched, precious child, and that is the greatest compliment heaven can pay to your destiny. My beloved child, now that you understand the beautiful reality of being lovingly watched by heavenly eyes, I must give you specific instructions for how to live with conscious awareness of divine observation. These are not burdensome rules designed to make you self-conscious, but liberating guidelines that will transform your daily existence into a joyful dance of love, purpose, and authentic relationship with the one who delights in watching your every step. The voice of performance anxiety will try to turn this awareness of being watched into a source of stress, making you feel like you must be perfect every moment, never make mistakes, and constantly perform for divine approval. But precious one, these instructions are not about performing for my approval. They are about living in the freedom of knowing you already have my approval and allowing that security to transform how you navigate your daily choices. First instruction, beloved child, live with authentic transparency rather than religious pretense. Since I see everything anyway, your thoughts, your motives, your struggles, your fears. There is no need to pretend to be someone you are not. The awareness that you are being watched should free you from the exhaustion of maintaining false images, not burden you with pressure to appear perfect. When you understand that my eyes upon your life are filled with love and acceptance, you can drop the masks you wear to impress others and be genuinely yourself in every situation. This authenticity is not permission to be careless with your choices, but freedom to be honest about your struggles while trusting in my grace to transform you from the inside out. The voice of shame will argue that transparency is dangerous, that honesty about your struggles will lead to rejection, that admitting your weaknesses will result in abandonment. But I am teaching you that hiding from love never leads to healing, that pretending to be perfect prevents real transformation, and that authentic vulnerability is the pathway to genuine intimacy with me and others. Second instruction: precious child. Make decisions based on love rather than fear of being judged. When you know that the one watching you is filled with compassion rather than condemnation, with understanding rather than criticism, with grace rather than harshness, your choices can flow from love rather than anxiety about divine disapproval. This means choosing integrity, not because you fear punishment for dishonesty, but because you love truth. It means showing kindness not because you're trying to earn approval, but because you're overflowing with the kindness you've received. It means serving others not to impress the divine observer, but because love naturally expresses itself through service. Third instruction: beloved one, embrace accountability as protection rather than resenting it as intrusion. The reality that your life is observed by perfect love should make you grateful for divine accountability rather than resentful of divine attention. This accountability is not harsh surveillance designed to catch you in failure, but loving oversight designed to keep you on the path of blessing and success. When you feel the gentle conviction of my spirit about a choice or attitude, receive it as evidence of my love rather than proof of my disappointment. When you sense my guidance redirecting your steps, welcome it as protection rather than interference. When you experience divine correction, embrace it as proof that you matter to me, rather than evidence that you've failed me. Fourth instruction: precious child. Use the awareness of being watched to cultivate excellence without perfectionism. Knowing that divine eyes are upon your life should inspire you to live with greater intentionality, speak with greater wisdom, and choose with greater consideration for the impact of your actions. This is not the pressure of perfectionism, but the motivation of love. Excellence flows from wanting to honor the one who loves you, while perfectionism flows from trying to earn love through flawless performance. Excellence celebrates progress, while perfectionism condemns anything less than perfection. Excellence is sustainable and joyful, while perfectionism is exhausting and anxiety-producing. The voice of mediocrity will argue that pursuing excellence is unnecessary pressure, that good enough should be sufficient, that striving for quality is just spiritual pride. But I am teaching you that excellence is not about impressing others or earning approval. It is about stewarding well the gifts, opportunities, and responsibilities I have entrusted to your care. Fifth instruction: beloved child. Live with eternity in view while engaging fully with temporal responsibilities. The awareness that heavenly eyes are watching your earthly journey should help you maintain perspective on what truly matters while still being faithful with current assignments and relationships. This eternal perspective prevents you from being overwhelmed by temporary difficulties, discouraged by momentary setbacks, or consumed by circumstances that have no lasting significance. At the same time, it motivates you to handle earthly responsibilities with heavenly wisdom, to treat temporal relationships with eternal love, and to approach daily duties with divine purpose. Sixth instruction: precious one. Respond to failure with repentance and restoration, rather than shame and hiding. When you make mistakes, and you will, remember that the eyes watching you are not looking for reasons to reject you, but opportunities to restore you. My observation of your failures is motivated by desire to heal, not condemn. The awareness of being watched should make failure less devastating, not more traumatic. When you know that the observer of your mistakes is also your redeemer and restorer, you can face failure with confidence and grace rather than fear of rejection. You can repent quickly, receive forgiveness completely, and return to faithful living immediately. Seventh instruction, beloved child. Use private moments to cultivate intimate worship rather than careless living. The knowledge that you are never truly alone, that divine eyes see your private moments as clearly as your public ones, should transform your hidden times into opportunities for intimate communion with me. Your private worship, your secret prayers, your hidden acts of kindness, your unseen choices for righteousness, all of these become precious offerings when you live with conscious awareness of my loving observation. The moments when no human eyes are watching become the most beautiful expressions of authentic love for the divine observer who never looks away. Eighth instruction, precious child. Seek to influence others positively through your awareness of being watched. Your life is being observed not only by me, but by people who need to see authentic faith in action, genuine love in practice, and real transformation in progress. Live in such a way that your awareness of divine observation enhances rather than hinders your witness to others. This influence is not about performing for human audiences, but about allowing divine love to flow through your surrendered life in ways that bless everyone around you. When people see you living with joy under divine observation rather than anxiety, with freedom under divine authority rather than bondage, they will be drawn to the source of your peace and security. These instructions are not burdens to bear, but gifts to unwrap, precious child. They are not rules to follow perfectly, but guidelines to embrace gratefully. They are designed to help you experience the joy of living in conscious fellowship with the One who watches you with infinite love, endless patience, and boundless hope for your future. Live in the freedom of being watched by perfect love, beloved one. Let this awareness transform your daily existence into a continuous conversation with the One who delights in your company, celebrates your growth, and cheers for your success in every area of life. You are being watched, precious child, and what a privilege it is to live under such loving observation. My precious child, as you grow in awareness of the loving eyes constantly upon your life, I want to strengthen your witness so that your life becomes an increasingly powerful testimony to my goodness, faithfulness, and transforming love. Your witness is not just what you say about me. It is how you live, how you respond to challenges, how you treat others, and how you carry yourself knowing that divine love is watching your every step with pride and affection. The voice of insignificance whispers that your witness doesn't matter, that your life has little influence, that your example affects no one significantly. But beloved one, you are being watched not only by me, but by people who desperately need to see that authentic faith produces authentic transformation, that genuine relationship with me creates genuine peace in the midst of life's storms, and that real love changes how we live and relate to others. Your strengthened witness begins with consistency between your private and public life, precious child. Because you now understand that I see everything, your hidden thoughts, your secret struggles, your private victories, your unseen acts of kindness, you can live with the same integrity when no human eyes are watching as when everyone is watching. This consistency is the foundation of powerful witness. People are drawn to authenticity and repelled by hypocrisy. When your private character matches your public profession, when your secret devotion supports your visible service, when your hidden worship enhances your public witness, your life becomes a magnet that draws others to the source of your strength and the secret of your peace. I am strengthening your witness through the way you handle adversity under divine observation, beloved one. When people see you maintaining faith during difficult seasons, expressing gratitude in challenging circumstances, and demonstrating peace in the midst of storms, they witness the supernatural power of divine love working through human lives. The voice of complaint will tempt you to express frustration publicly about your circumstances, to voice discouragement about delays in answered prayer, to demonstrate anxiety about uncertain outcomes. But I am teaching you that your response to adversity under my loving gaze becomes a powerful testimony to my faithfulness, my sufficiency, and my ability to sustain those who trust in me. Your strengthened witness shines through how you treat people who cannot benefit you, precious child. Because you know that I am watching every interaction, every response, every choice to bless or ignore those who cross your path, you can demonstrate love without expectation of return, kindness without hope of reciprocation, and generosity without possibility of repayment. The world is watching to see if your faith makes a practical difference in how you treat the cashier who is having a bad day, the neighbor who plays music too loudly, the family member who consistently makes poor choices, and the stranger who needs help but has nothing to offer in return. These interactions become powerful sermons about the reality of divine love working through surrendered hearts. I am strengthening your witness through your response to success and blessing, beloved one. When you receive favor, achieve goals, experience breakthrough, or enjoy prosperity, your reaction reveals the true condition of your heart and the authentic focus of your worship. People are watching to see if success makes you proud or humble, if blessing makes you selfish or generous, if achievement makes you independent or more dependent on me. The voice of pride will whisper that your successes are evidence of your wisdom, your achievements proof of your ability, your blessings rewards for your goodness. But living under divine observation reminds you that every good gift comes from above, that every success requires divine favor, and that every blessing is an opportunity to give glory where glory is due. Your witness is strengthened through your forgiveness of those who hurt you, precious child. Because you live with constant awareness of the forgiveness you have received from me, because you understand the grace that covers your own failures and mistakes, you can extend that same grace to others who wound you, disappoint you, or betray your trust. Nothing demonstrates the reality of divine transformation more powerfully than watching someone forgive the unforgivable, love the unlovable, and bless those who curse them. This supernatural response to natural offense becomes irrefutable evidence that something beyond human capability is at work in your life. I am strengthening your witness through the joy you demonstrate despite imperfect circumstances, beloved one. Joy that depends on everything going well is not supernatural. It is simply human happiness based on favorable conditions. But joy that flows from your spirit despite difficulties, peace that guards your heart despite uncertainty, and hope that fills your soul despite delayed answers. This demonstrates the reality of my presence in your life. The voice of discouragement will try to steal your joy by focusing your attention on what is wrong, what is missing, or what is delayed in your life. But living under loving divine observation reminds you of all that is right, all that you have received, and all that is being prepared for your future. This perspective produces a joy that becomes a powerful witness to others who are struggling to find reasons for hope. Your strengthened witness includes how you handle money and material possessions, precious child. Because you know that I see how you earn, spend, save, and give, because you understand that stewardship is a reflection of the heart, your financial choices become a testimony to what you truly value and where you place your trust. Generosity in the face of personal need, integrity in business dealings even when it costs you profit, contentment with what you have while working diligently for improvement, and giving cheerfully even when resources are limited. These financial witnesses speak louder than words about the reality of trusting in divine provision rather than earthly security. I am strengthening your witness through the hope you maintain in seemingly hopeless situations, beloved one. When people see you holding on to faith when circumstances suggest giving up, believing for breakthrough when evidence points to disappointment, and maintaining optimism when logic counsels despair, they witness the supernatural power of divine promises anchoring human hearts. This hope is not naive optimism that ignores reality. It is supernatural confidence that acknowledges present challenges while trusting in divine solutions. It is not wishful thinking that denies problems. It is faith-filled expecting that sees beyond current circumstances to eternal purposes and promises. Your witness is strengthened through your humility in recognition of divine observation, precious child. Knowing that I see everything keeps you humble about your achievements, grateful for your successes, and dependent on divine grace for every victory. This humility attracts others because it is refreshing in a world full of self-promotion and pride. True humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself accurately in relationship to me. It is recognizing that every gift comes from my hand. Every opportunity flows from my favor. Every success requires my blessing. This perspective creates a magnetic humility that draws others to investigate the source of such refreshing authenticity. Your strengthened witness under divine gaze becomes a beacon of hope for those who are watching, to see if faith makes a real difference, if relationship with me produces practical transformation, and if divine love creates lasting change in human hearts and lives. Live in the strength of knowing that your witness matters, precious child. Every choice you make, every word you speak, every response you give is observed by both heaven and earth. Let this awareness inspire you to live in such a way that your life becomes an irresistible invitation for others to experience the love, grace, and transformation that flows from intimate relationship with me. Your witness is being strengthened, your testimony is growing more powerful, and your influence is expanding through the simple reality of living authentically under the loving gaze of your Heavenly Father. My beloved child, I must address a fear that may have begun to grow in your heart as you've become more aware of being constantly observed by divine eyes. This fear transforms the beautiful reality of loving observation into the terrifying burden of endless surveillance, turns intimate fellowship into anxious performance, and converts divine attention from blessing into burden. But today I want to completely eradicate this fear and restore your ability to enjoy, rather than endure, being watched by perfect love. The voice of anxiety whispers that constant observation means constant judgment, that divine attention equals divine scrutiny, that being watched by holy eyes must result in condemnation for unholy thoughts and imperfect actions. But precious one, this voice is projecting the character of fallen human observers onto your perfect Heavenly Father, assuming that divine watching carries the same harsh judgment that human watching often contains. This fear often stems from earthly experiences with surveillance that was punitive rather than protective, invasive rather than intimate, critical rather than compassionate. Perhaps you grew up in a home where being watched meant being judged, where attention meant trouble, where observation led to criticism and punishment. But I am nothing like the imperfect watchers who wounded your tender heart with their harsh gaze. The voice of shame argues that if I truly see everything, every thought, every motive, every hidden struggle, then surely I must be disgusted, disappointed, or ready to withdraw my love. It convinces you that perfect holiness cannot coexist with loving acceptance of imperfect people, that divine observation must lead to divine rejection of flawed children. But I am revealing to you a truth that will shatter this fear completely, beloved child. I see everything about you and love you completely, not despite your imperfections, but through them, not around your struggles, but in the midst of them. My love for you is not diminished by my knowledge of you. It is deepened by my understanding of how much you need love and grace. The fear of divine surveillance creates a constant state of spiritual anxiety that steals your peace, robs your joy, and prevents you from experiencing the rest that comes from being fully known and completely loved. This fear makes you feel like you must constantly monitor yourself, perpetually examine your motives, and endlessly second-guess your thoughts and actions. But I am teaching you that the opposite is true, precious one. When you truly understand that divine observation comes from divine love, when you grasp that heavenly watching flows from heavenly affection, when you realize that my eyes upon your life are filled with pride rather than condemnation, this awareness brings rest rather than anxiety, peace rather than pressure, freedom rather than bondage. The voice of perfectionism feeds this fear by insisting that divine observation demands divine perfection, that being watched by holy eyes requires holy living in every moment, that constant surveillance necessitates constant sinlessness. But I am reminding you that I do not expect from you what I do not provide for you. The perfection required for divine acceptance was provided by Christ, not earned by your efforts. My observation of your life is not motivated by a desire to catch you in failure, but by delight in watching your growth, not by intention to condemn your mistakes, but by commitment to celebrate your progress, not by eagerness to find fault, but by joy in witnessing your transformation from glory to glory. This fear often manifests as hypervigilance about thoughts and motives, precious child. You become so concerned about having impure thoughts, selfish motives, or unspiritual reactions that you spend more time monitoring your internal world than enjoying your relationship with me. But this constant self-surveillance is not spiritual maturity. It is spiritual anxiety that prevents authentic intimacy with the one who loves you. I am teaching you to distinguish between healthy self-awareness and unhealthy self-obsession, between appropriate conviction and inappropriate condemnation, between divine correction and mental torment. When my spirit brings conviction, it is always accompanied by grace for transformation. When the enemy brings condemnation, it is always accompanied by shame and despair. The voice of false responsibility suggests that being watched by divine eyes makes you responsible for thoughts and feelings that arise involuntarily, for reactions that occur automatically, for struggles that persist despite your best efforts. But I am teaching you that you are responsible for your choices, not your temptations, for your actions, not your impulses, for your responses, not your initial reactions. My observation of your internal struggles is not surveillance designed to condemn, but oversight designed to support. Not watching for evidence of failure, but witnessing your battles with understanding and compassion. I see the fight you fight against, thoughts you don't want, feelings you don't choose, and reactions you don't prefer. And I am proud of your resistance, not disappointed in your struggle. The fear of divine surveillance often creates a religious performance mentality that exhausts your soul and distances you from authentic relationship with me, beloved one. You begin to live as though you are constantly on stage, perpetually being evaluated, endlessly being tested. But true relationship with me is not a performance to be critiqued, but a dance to be enjoyed, not a test to be passed, but a love to be celebrated. I am calling you to move from fear-based living to love-based living, from performance-based relationship to grace-based relationship, from surveillance-focused anxiety to affection-focused rest. When you understand that my watching is motivated by love, your living can be motivated by love in return, rather than fear of disapproval. The voice of comparison will try to make you feel worse about being watched by pointing to others who seem to live more freely, more carelessly, more spontaneously than you do under divine observation. But I am teaching you that those who live without awareness of my loving gaze are not more free. They are less blessed, not more liberated. They are less loved, not more authentic. They are less aware of the authentic love that surrounds them. Divine observation is not a burden to bear, but a blessing to enjoy, precious child. It means you are never alone in your struggles, never without witness to your victories, never lacking someone who understands your challenges and celebrates your growth. The fear of this blessing has robbed you of the joy of this blessing. I am replacing your fear of divine surveillance with gratitude for divine attention, your anxiety about being watched with appreciation for being loved, your terror of being observed with thanksgiving for being cared for so completely. The eyes upon your life are not the eyes of a harsh judge, but the eyes of a loving Father who delights in your existence and celebrates your progress. Live in the freedom of being lovingly watched rather than the fear of being harshly surveilled, beloved one. Let divine observation become a source of comfort rather than anxiety, of rest rather than restlessness, of joy rather than fear. You are being watched by perfect love, and perfect love casts out all fear. The fear is broken, the anxiety is healed, and the freedom to enjoy divine attention is restored. You can rest in being watched by love, celebrated in being observed by grace, and find peace in being constantly attended by divine affection. My precious child, there is a supernatural empowerment that flows into your life through the conscious awareness of being lovingly observed by divine eyes. This is not the burden of performance under scrutiny, but the blessing of strength under loving attention. Not the pressure of trying to impress, but the power of being supported by infinite love. Not the exhaustion of constant evaluation, but the energy that comes from constant encouragement. The voice of self-reliance argues that being watched makes you weaker, more dependent, less capable of standing on your own strength. But I am revealing to you that conscious awareness of divine observation actually multiplies your spiritual authority, increases your supernatural effectiveness, and empowers you with resources that are unavailable to those who live as though they are unobserved by heavenly love. When you live with conscious awareness that divine eyes are upon your life with love and support, you access supernatural courage that enables you to take steps you would never take alone, beloved child. The knowledge that omnipotent love is watching gives you strength to face challenges that would overwhelm you if you thought you had to handle them in isolation. Power to overcome obstacles that would defeat you if you believed you were fighting battles without heavenly backup. This is not false confidence based on pretending problems don't exist. It is supernatural confidence rooted in knowing that the one who watches you is more powerful than any problem you face, more loving than any wound you carry, more faithful than any person who has disappointed you. Divine observation empowers human action, when that observation is understood as divine support rather than divine surveillance. I am empowering your prayers through your awareness of being watched with divine attention. Precious one, when you understand that your prayers are not sent into empty space but offered before the throne of one who is already watching you with love and interest, your intercession carries greater authority. Your petitions flow with greater confidence, and your declarations of faith resonate with greater power. Your prayers become more intimate when you realize they are offered to one who has already been observing your struggles with compassion, witnessing your battles with understanding, and watching your faithfulness with pride. This intimacy transforms prayer from religious obligation into relational conversation, from desperate pleading into confident communication with one who already knows your need and cares about your concerns. The voice of doubt will try to convince you that being watched means your prayers are unnecessary, because I already know everything. That divine observation makes intercession redundant, because omniscience eliminates the need for information. But I am teaching you that prayer is not about informing me of things I don't know. It is about partnering with me in things I want to accomplish, aligning your will with my purposes, and releasing my power through your faith-filled declarations. I am empowering your relationships through divine observation, beloved child. When you live with conscious awareness that loving eyes are watching how you treat others, how you respond to offense, how you extend grace to those who hurt you, this awareness enhances your ability to love supernaturally, forgive completely, and serve authentically, even when your natural inclination would be to respond differently. This empowerment in relationships is not the artificial politeness of trying to look good for divine approval. It is the supernatural love that flows from knowing you are already approved and therefore free to love others from a place of security rather than need, acceptance rather than rejection, fullness rather than emptiness. The awareness that divine eyes see every act of kindness, every moment of patience, every choice to bless rather than curse, gives eternal significance to every interaction and supernatural power to every relationship choice. You are not just interacting with people. You are demonstrating divine love under divine observation to people who need to see that such love is real and accessible. I am empowering your work and creativity through divine observation, precious one. When you understand that the eyes of infinite creativity are watching your efforts with delight, that divine excellence is observing your projects with interest, that heavenly wisdom is available to enhance your earthly endeavors. Your work becomes worship, and your creativity becomes collaboration with divine inspiration. This empowerment transforms mundane tasks into sacred offerings, ordinary responsibilities into opportunities for excellence, and routine duties into platforms for demonstrating divine character through human effort. Every project becomes a chance to glorify the One who watches with pride. Every task becomes an opportunity to please the One who observes with love. The voice of mediocrity will argue that divine observation creates unnecessary pressure to excel, that spiritual living should accept good enough as sufficient, that pursuing excellence in worldly endeavors is spiritual pride. But I am teaching you that excellence is not about impressing others or earning approval. It is about stewarding well the gifts, opportunities, and responsibilities entrusted to your care under divine observation. I am empowering your resilience through awareness of being watched by eternal love, beloved child. When temporary setbacks threaten to discourage you, when immediate circumstances challenge your faith, when present difficulties test your perseverance, the knowledge that eternal eyes are watching with long-term perspective gives you strength to endure short-term challenges. This supernatural resilience comes from understanding that the One watching your struggles also sees your victory, that the eyes observing your present pain also perceive your future joy, that divine observation includes not just where you are, but where you are going. This eternal perspective empowers temporal endurance. The empowerment of divine observation extends to your spiritual authority, precious child. When you know that the eyes of heaven are upon your life with approval and support, when you understand that divine power backs up divine observation, when you grasp that heavenly authority stands behind heavenly attention, you can exercise spiritual authority with confidence rather than uncertainty, boldness rather than timidity, effectiveness rather than ineffectiveness. Your prayers carry more weight when you know they are supported by divine observation. Your declarations of faith resonate with more power when you understand they are witnessed by divine love. Your spiritual warfare becomes more effective when you realize it is backed by divine authority that has been watching your faithfulness and is prepared to demonstrate divine power through your obedience. I am empowering your witness through divine observation, beloved one. When you live with conscious awareness that your life is being watched not only by me, but by people who need to see authentic faith in action, this awareness empowers you to live more intentionally, love more authentically, and serve more joyfully as a demonstration of divine transformation, working through surrendered human hearts. This empowerment and witness is not the burden of trying to look perfect for others, but the blessing of knowing that your imperfect but authentic life can become a powerful testimony to divine grace, love, and transformation when it is lived under conscious awareness of divine observation and support. The voice of insignificance will try to convince you that your life has little influence, that your witness affects no one significantly, that divine observation of your ordinary existence has no extraordinary impact. But I am revealing to you that lives lived under conscious divine observation, with authentic faith, become supernatural magnets that draw others to investigate the source of such peace, joy, and love. You are being empowered through divine observation, precious child, not burdened by it. You are being strengthened through heavenly attention, not weakened by it. You are being enhanced through eternal love watching your temporal journey, not diminished by it. Receive this supernatural empowerment that flows from living consciously under divine observation. Let the awareness that loving eyes are upon your life multiply your courage, increase your authority, enhance your effectiveness, and empower your witness to a world that desperately needs to see what supernatural living looks like through ordinary people who have discovered the extraordinary power of being lovingly watched by their Heavenly Father. My beloved child, there comes a moment in your spiritual journey when you must transition from living under divine observation with anxiety to walking under divine gaze with authority. Not the harsh authority that demands submission through fear, but the authentic authority that flows from knowing you are loved, accepted, and empowered by the one whose eyes are constantly upon your life with pride and affection. The voice of insecurity whispers that you have no real authority. That divine observation reveals your inadequacies rather than empowers your effectiveness. That being watched by perfect holiness only highlights your imperfections and disqualifies you from spiritual influence. But precious one, this voice misunderstands the nature of divine authority and the source of spiritual power. Your authentic authority does not come from your perfection, but from your position as my beloved child. Not from your flawless performance, but from my faithfulness working through your surrendered heart. Not from your impressive abilities, but from my infinite power operating through your available spirit. The eyes that watch you see not just your weaknesses, but my strength working through those weaknesses to accomplish supernatural purposes. Living under divine observation has been preparing you for this moment of walking in spiritual authority, beloved child. Every choice you have made while conscious of loving eyes upon your life has been building character that can handle authority without corruption, developing humility that can steward power without pride, and creating integrity that can exercise influence without manipulation. The voice of false humility argues that claiming spiritual authority is pride, that recognizing divine empowerment is arrogance, that acknowledging supernatural effectiveness through your life is self-promotion. But I am teaching you that true humility is not denying what I have given you. It is stewarding what I have given you for my glory and others' benefit, rather than for your own elevation or recognition. Your authority flows from relationship, not position, from intimacy, not hierarchy, from love, not law. Because you have learned to live consciously under divine observation with trust rather than fear, with gratitude rather than anxiety, with rest rather than performance, you have developed the relational foundation necessary for exercising authentic spiritual authority. I am calling you to exercise authority over your thought life under divine observation, precious child. You have the power to take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ, to reject mental suggestions that contradict my word, to choose what you will meditate upon and what you will dismiss from your consciousness. This authority over your internal world is the foundation for all external authority you will exercise. When negative thoughts, fearful imaginations, or condemning accusations attempt to dominate your mental space, you have authority under divine observation to reject them, replace them, and redirect your focus to thoughts that align with divine truth. The one watching your mind battles is not disappointed by the struggles, but proud of your resistance, not discouraged by the attacks, but excited about your victories. Your authority extends to your emotional responses under divine gaze, beloved one. You are not at the mercy of your feelings, controlled by your moods, or enslaved by your reactions. Under loving divine observation, you have been given authority to choose your responses rather than being ruled by your impulses, to direct your emotions rather than being directed by them. This emotional authority does not mean suppressing feelings or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging emotions while choosing responses that align with divine wisdom rather than emotional impulse. The eyes watching your emotional battles see your struggles with compassion and your victories with celebration. I am empowering you to exercise authority in your relationships under divine observation, precious child. You have been given power to break unhealthy patterns, establish healthy boundaries, speak truth in love, and create atmospheres of blessing wherever you go. This relational authority flows from the security of knowing you are watched with love rather than the insecurity of needing others' approval for validation. When you know that divine eyes see your relational choices with approval and support, you can love others from strength rather than neediness, serve from fullness rather than emptiness, and give from abundance rather than scarcity. This secure love attracts others because it is refreshing in a world of needy, manipulative relationships. The voice of people-pleasing will try to convince you that exercising authority in relationships is selfish, that establishing boundaries is unloving, that speaking truth when it might cause discomfort is unkind. But I am teaching you that authentic love sometimes requires difficult conversations, that genuine kindness sometimes demands honest confrontation, that real blessing sometimes necessitates temporary discomfort for long-term health. Your authority includes the power to speak my word with confidence under divine observation, beloved one. When you know that the eyes watching you are filled with approval for your obedience, when you understand that divine power backs up divine truth spoken through surrendered lips, when you grasp that heavenly authority supports earthly declarations that align with heavenly will, your words carry supernatural weight and effectiveness. This authority in speaking divine truth is not harsh proclamation that condemns others, but loving declaration that offers hope, healing, and transformation. Under divine observation, your words become instruments of blessing, weapons of warfare against darkness, and tools of construction for building others up in faith and love. I am empowering you to exercise authority over circumstances under divine gaze, precious child. You are not a victim of your situation, but a victor over your situation through the power of faith, prayer, and divine partnership. The eyes watching your battles see not just present challenges, but future victories, not just current obstacles, but coming breakthroughs. This authority over circumstances does not guarantee that you will never face difficulties or challenges. It means that you will not be overwhelmed by them, defeated by them, or defined by them. You have authority to speak to your mountains, declare divine promises over your situations, and stand in faith despite contrary evidence. The authority I'm calling you to walk in is servant authority that builds others up rather than tears them down, healing authority that restores rather than destroys, loving authority that blesses rather than curses. This authority flows from the character developed through living consciously under divine observation, with authentic surrender and trust. Your authority is not threatened by opposition, shaken by circumstances, or diminished by others' opinions because it is rooted in divine love, established by divine choice, and empowered by divine strength. The one whose eyes are constantly upon your life has authorized you to represent divine love, demonstrate divine power, and advance divine purposes through your surrendered and empowered life. The voice of intimidation will try to make you shrink back from this authority, to convince you that spiritual power is dangerous, that divine empowerment will corrupt you, that walking in authority will make you proud or harsh. But I am teaching you that the greatest protection against the corruption of power is living consciously under divine observation with authentic humility and genuine love. Walk in your authentic authority, precious child, knowing that divine eyes watch with pride as you exercise the power and influence I have placed within you for kingdom purposes. You are not walking in this authority alone. You are walking in it under the loving gaze of the one who gave it to you, supports it through you, and will accomplish great things through your obedient exercise of spiritual power. Your authority is established, your power is real, and your influence is significant. The one watching you has equipped you, empowered you, and authorized you to represent divine love and demonstrate divine power to a world that desperately needs to see authentic spiritual authority exercised with humility, grace, and love. Rise up in your authority, beloved one. The eyes that watch you are filled with expectation for your success, confidence in your ability to steward power wisely, and delight in your willingness to be used for divine purposes under divine observation. My precious child, as you have journeyed through this awakening to the reality of being lovingly observed by divine eyes, something magnificent has been happening within your spirit that transcends mere intellectual understanding. You have been transformed from the inside out by the power of knowing you are watched with infinite love, observed with divine pride, and witnessed with heavenly celebration of every step you take toward becoming who I created you to be. The voice of sameness will try to convince you that you are still the person you were when this journey began, that awareness of divine observation has not really changed you, that the transformation you sense is just temporary emotion rather than permanent alteration of your spiritual DNA. But beloved one, you are not who you were when you first awakened to the beautiful reality of being watched by love. Your perspective on life itself has been revolutionized, precious child. Where once you may have felt isolated in your struggles, alone in your challenges, and unnoticed in your victories, you now carry the deep awareness that every moment of your existence is witnessed by one who cares deeply about your experience, celebrates your progress, and supports your journey with infinite resources and boundless affection. This shift from feeling unobserved to knowing you are lovingly watched has transformed your relationship with solitude, your experience of privacy, and your understanding of what it means to be alone. You are never truly alone because loving eyes are always upon you, caring hearts are always aware of your needs, and divine attention is always focused on your well-being with tender concern and joyful anticipation. The transformation in your self-worth has been profound, beloved one. The lies that once whispered you were insignificant, unimportant, and unworthy of attention have been shattered by the reality that the Creator of the universe finds you fascinating enough to watch constantly, valuable enough to attend to continuously, and precious enough to observe with delight rather than disappointment. Your identity is no longer shaped by others' opinions of your worth, but by divine assessment of your value. You no longer need human validation because you have heavenly verification. You no longer crave earthly recognition because you possess eternal acknowledgement. This transformation has set you free from the exhausting cycle of seeking approval and acceptance from sources that could never provide the complete love your heart was created to receive. The voice of insecurity that once dominated your internal dialogue has been replaced by the voice of divine affirmation, precious child. Where once you questioned your significance, you now rest in divine confirmation of your importance. Where once you doubted your value, you now live in conscious awareness of divine treasuring of your existence. Where once you wondered if you mattered, you now know with unshakable certainty that you are the subject of infinite love and constant divine attention. Your approach to failure and mistakes has been completely transformed, beloved one. Instead of viewing failures as evidence of worthlessness, you now understand them as learning opportunities observed with divine patience. Instead of experiencing mistakes as sources of shame, you now see them as moments for divine grace to demonstrate its power. Instead of hiding from errors and embarrassment, you now bring them into the light of divine love for healing and restoration. This transformation has liberated you from the prison of perfectionism and released you into the freedom of authenticity. You can be real about your struggles because you know they are witnessed with compassion. You can be honest about your weaknesses because you know they are observed with understanding. You can be transparent about your journey because you know it is watched with pride rather than disappointment. The transformation in your relationships has been beautiful to witness, precious child. Knowing that you are completely loved and fully accepted by the ultimate observer has freed you to love others without needing them to complete you, to serve without requiring reciprocation, to give without expecting return. This security in divine love has made you a source of blessing rather than a seeker of blessing in your relationships. Your capacity for forgiveness has been exponentially increased through this transformation, beloved one. Understanding the depth of forgiveness you have received from the one who sees everything about you, every thought, every motive, every hidden struggle, has empowered you to extend that same grace to others who have wounded you, disappointed you, or failed to meet your expectations. The voice of bitterness that once counseled you to hold on to offenses, to nurse wounds, and to protect yourself through unforgiveness has been silenced by the overwhelming awareness of divine mercy that covers all your shortcomings with perfect love. How can you withhold forgiveness from others when you live in conscious awareness of the boundless forgiveness you receive daily from divine eyes that see everything yet love completely? Your prayer life has been transformed from desperate pleading to confident conversation, precious child. Knowing that you are already observed with love and attention has changed prayer from trying to get divine attention to enjoying divine communion, from attempting to convince a reluctant God to celebrating fellowship with an eager Father who delights in your voice and treasures your company. This transformation has made worship more authentic, more spontaneous, and more joyful because it flows from gratitude for constant divine attention rather than attempts to attract occasional divine notice. Your praise emerges from awareness of being perpetually celebrated rather than efforts to earn temporary approval. The transformation in your courage has been remarkable, beloved one. Knowing that omnipotent love is watching your battles has given you supernatural boldness to face challenges that once intimidated you, to attempt things that once seemed impossible, and to take steps that once appeared too risky. Divine observation has become divine empowerment for extraordinary living. Your sense of purpose has been clarified and intensified through this transformation, precious child. Understanding that divine eyes are watching your life with anticipation and expectation has helped you recognize that your existence has cosmic significance, that your choices have eternal impact, and that your faithfulness matters not just to you, but to the one who observes with passionate interest in your success. The voice of purposelessness that once suggested your life had little meaning or impact has been drowned out by the awareness that you are the subject of intense divine interest, the focus of loving heavenly attention, and the recipient of constant divine investment in your growth, success, and joy. Your capacity for joy has been dramatically expanded through this transformation, beloved one. Joy that once depended on favorable circumstances now flows from the unchanging reality of being loved, watched, and celebrated by divine eyes regardless of external conditions. This joy is not dependent on everything going well, but on the eternal truth that you are always going well in the sight of perfect love. Most significantly, precious child, your understanding of divine love has been revolutionized through this transformation. God's love is no longer a theological concept to be believed, but a living reality to be experienced daily through conscious awareness of loving divine observation. You now know experientially that you are loved not because you are perfect, but because love is perfect. Not because you are worthy, but because love makes you worthy. Not because you have earned it, but because love gives freely. This transformation is not temporary emotion that will fade with time. It is permanent alteration of your spiritual reality that will continue to deepen and develop throughout your journey. You have been changed by the power of perfect love, perfectly applied through the simple awareness that you are watched, observed, and witnessed by divine eyes that never close, divine hearts that never tire of loving you, and divine attention that never wavers from celebrating your existence. You are transformed, beloved child, and this transformation is your new normal, your permanent identity, your eternal reality. The eyes that watched your transformation with joy will continue to observe your continued growth with the same love, pride, and celebration that have marked every moment of this beautiful journey. My beloved child, as we reach the culmination of this divine revelation about being lovingly watched and eternally celebrated, I want to lift your vision beyond the temporal reality of earthly observation to the eternal truth of cosmic celebration. Your life is not just watched by me, not just observed by angels, not just witnessed by saints. Your destiny is celebrated by all creation as a magnificent expression of divine love, grace, and transforming power that will resonate throughout eternity. The voice of temporal thinking limits your understanding to earthly observation, human witnessing, and temporary acknowledgement. But precious one, the reality of being watched extends far beyond what your natural mind can comprehend, reaching into dimensions of eternity, where your faithfulness creates celebrations that echo through the corridors of heaven and ripple across the fabric of creation itself. Your journey of awakening to divine observation has prepared you for this ultimate revelation. You are not just living for time, but for eternity. Not just being watched by earth, but by heaven. not just witnessed by humans, but by all creation. Every choice you make under divine observation contributes to an eternal symphony of celebration that began before time and will continue long after temporal existence gives way to eternal glory. The angels assigned to your life have been taking notes, precious child. Every moment of faithfulness under divine observation, every choice to trust when you couldn't see, every decision to love when it was difficult, every act of obedience when it was costly, all of these have been recorded not just in earthly memory, but in heavenly chronicles that will be read and celebrated throughout eternity. These angelic witnesses have been watching your transformation with amazement, your growth with delight, and your faithful responses to divine love with wonder that such grace could produce such beauty in human hearts. Their celebration of your journey will continue in the eternal realm, where the full impact of your earthly faithfulness under divine observation will be revealed and celebrated. The voice of insignificance argues that your life is too small to merit cosmic attention, too ordinary to deserve eternal celebration, too imperfect to warrant heavenly recognition. But I am revealing to you that in my kingdom, there are no small lives lived in faithful response to divine love, no ordinary destinies when they are surrendered to extraordinary purposes, no imperfect people who cannot become perfect expressions of perfect love. Your destiny includes becoming a living testimony that will encourage countless others throughout eternity. Beloved one, the faithfulness you have demonstrated under divine observation on earth will become a source of inspiration and hope for others who are learning to trust divine love, surrender to divine will, and live with conscious awareness of divine attention. In eternity, your story will be told as an example of what is possible when ordinary people respond to extraordinary love with authentic faith, genuine surrender, and consistent obedience. The battles you have fought, the victories you have won, and the growth you have experienced under divine observation will become treasures of testimony that bless others for ages to come. The transformation you have experienced through conscious awareness of divine observation is preparing you for eternal responsibilities that require the character, wisdom, and spiritual authority you have developed through this journey. In heaven, you will not cease to grow, to serve, or to impact others. You will continue to be a source of blessing, encouragement, and divine love to others throughout eternity. The voice of earthly limitation suggests that death ends observation, that eternity eliminates the need for faithfulness, that heaven removes the significance of earthly choices made under divine attention. But I am revealing to you that earthly faithfulness under divine observation is preparation for eternal service under divine commission, that temporal choices create eternal character, that present obedience produces everlasting impact. Your eternal destiny includes reigning with me in dimensions of authority and influence that correspond to the faithfulness you have demonstrated under divine observation during your earthly journey. The character developed through conscious awareness of divine love, the wisdom gained through surrender to divine will, and the spiritual authority exercised through obedient response to divine calling will be your qualifications for eternal service and eternal celebration. The saints who have gone before you are preparing celebrations for your arrival, precious child. They recognize the spiritual progress you have made, the battles you have won, and the faithfulness you have demonstrated under divine observation. Your victory is their victory, because you are part of the eternal family of faith that celebrates each member's success as collective triumph over darkness, doubt, and defeat. These heavenly witnesses understand the challenges you have faced because they faced similar struggles. They appreciate the victories you have won because they fought similar battles. They celebrate your faithfulness because they remember their own journey of learning to live consciously, under divine observation, with trust, love, and obedient response to divine grace. In eternity, you will join this great cloud of witnesses in celebrating others who are learning the same lessons you have learned, fighting the same battles you have fought, and discovering the same transforming power of living consciously under divine observation with authentic faith and genuine love. Your eternal destiny includes perfect fellowship with me in dimensions of intimacy and communion that exceed anything possible during earthly existence, beloved one. The relationship you have developed through conscious awareness of divine observation will blossom into eternal companionship characterized by perfect understanding, complete acceptance, and boundless love. In eternity, the eyes that have watched you with love during your earthly journey will continue to observe you with the same affection, but without the barriers that currently limit full revelation of divine glory. You will see me as I am, know me as I know you, and love me with the same perfect love with which I have loved you throughout your earthly journey. The voice of unworthiness protests that such destiny is too glorious for someone like you, that eternal celebration is reserved for greater saints, that cosmic significance belongs to more important people. But I am declaring over you that your destiny is not based on your worthiness but on my love, not on your importance but on my choice, not on your greatness but on my grace. Your eternal celebration is guaranteed not by your perfection but by my promise, not by your achievement but by Christ's accomplishment, not by your righteousness but by the righteousness that has been credited to your account through faith. The eyes that have watched you with love will continue to observe you with joy throughout all eternity. In the ages to come, when earthly struggles are distant memories and temporal challenges are ancient history, you will understand fully why every moment of earthly faithfulness under divine observation was significant, why every choice to trust was valuable, why every act of obedience was important. You will see the eternal impact of temporal faithfulness and the cosmic significance of earthly surrender to divine love. Your celebration will not be solo performance, but symphony participation. Not individual recognition, but collective rejoicing. Not personal glory, but shared honor with all who have responded to divine love with faithful obedience under divine observation. The joy will be multiplied because it is shared. The victory will be magnified because it is collective. The celebration will be intensified because it is eternal. All creation groans and waits for the full revelation of the sons and daughters of God, precious child. Your faithfulness under divine observation is part of this cosmic anticipation. Your obedience to divine love contributes to this universal longing. Your surrender to divine will participates in this eternal purpose. When your eternal destiny is fully revealed, when your complete transformation is finally unveiled, when your perfect conformity to divine image is ultimately demonstrated, all creation will celebrate the triumph of divine love over human limitation, divine grace over human failure, divine power over human weakness. You are eternally celebrated, beloved child. Your destiny is cosmically significant. Your faithfulness is eternally important. The eyes that watch you now with love will observe you forever, with joy, pride, and infinite delight, in the masterpiece you have become through conscious response to divine observation, with authentic faith and genuine love. This is my promise to you, my declaration over you, and my guarantee for you. Not just for time, but for eternity. Not just for earth, but for heaven. Not just for now, but forever. You are watched, you are loved, you are celebrated, and you will be forever.